Hello y'all, it's Jessica from Madame and Sticks YouTube channel. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome in, you're welcome here. I appreciate you for stopping by. On today's video, we're going to be doing this character here, an introduction to him. He is on the video game called Dead by Daylight. It's a horror video game. And right now I'm currently using this person's Steam account and all their other gaming resources. This is what this character looks like when they're checked marked off on the killer chart. His name is the Trickster. He is prestiged to a level 4. Let's go ahead and get into it and read his bio together. Jae-woon Hawk thrived under the attention of others, energized by every eye that watched him and every tongue that spoke his name. Amidst the prestige, he had only one desire. More, even as a child, he found ways to draw crowds. Working at his family's restaurant, he attracted businesses with spectacles he performed using throwing knives. Gullible tourists believed this was a traditional South Korean experience, gladly parting with their money to witness it. Ji-woon's father spent the restaurant's earnings on dancing and vocal lessons for his son, pushing him to attain the fame he never could. Ji-woon did not disappoint. After years showcasing his abilities to nobodies at talent shows, he hit the track to stardom. Young Jin Lee, a producer at Mighty One Entertainment, recruited Jae-woon into her training program. He transferred to a dormitory in Seoul where 14 hours a day he was crafted into a star, taught how to move and sing, how to carry himself with the right balance of confidence and modesty. Draining as the process was, it worked. Yoon Jin selected Ji-woon to join the band No Spin, bringing a raw energy to their tracks. Fame was almost immediate. Ji-woon lived in a daze of interviews and adoration, and through the frenzied schedule exhausted his bandmates, he was inundated. Each day was an affirmation that he was greater than the mediocrity society spewed out. But over time, the champagne grew stale. When he looked at his fans, he saw their joy and envy split 5 ways, thinned out between each band member. The validation that had surged through him left a desperate yearning for more. Ji-woon kept up impressions, mimicking a charm long buried under loathing. He recorded the latest No Spin album with his bandmates, never missing a beat. After a lengthy lunch break, he returned to the studio to discover fate had granted him a gift. The scent of burning wires was unmistakable. He rushed to the control room, finding the door blocked by falling speakers. On the other side, his bandmates pounded on the door, their cries accompanied by the crackling of flames. Ji-woon called to them, dashing to the speakers, grabbing one and stopping. He froze. Each breath was a conscious, deliberate process requiring all his attention. The nearby cries hardly audible until slowly he backed away. And then he heard it. They were screaming his name as they burnt, screaming for him to save them. G-Woom! 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 Huck! It was the most beautiful thing he'd ever heard. When the fire crew arrived, his tears were genuine. G-Woom was celebrated as a tragic figure, a hero who did all he could in a futile attempt to save his friends. Young Jin parodied him through interviews until it was time to rebrand. He was reborn as the Trickster, a solo artist who produced his own songs, sporting a soft heart beneath a wild exterior. But away from concerts set up and television stages, something darker grew. He targeted those who lived alone, coming to them in the night. The first was a college music student with a captivating voice. Jae-woon woke him with a baseball bat to the school, binding his arms and legs, gagging him with a rag duct tape into his mouth. He tortured him for hours, dissecting him alive. Yet there was something missing, a sound, a connection. He wanted to hear the victim's wondrous voice pleading as he cut his belly open. But all he received was muffled cries through a rag. He learned and adjusted. Victims had to be abducted, driven to an abandonment building where he could let their voices carry unrestrained emotion. He made music from them, prodding in the right places to evoke different types of shrieks and howls, stabbing the quadruplestum's lumberman, electing a long guttured wail, while slashing the carotid artery, creating a sound similar to a cat being strangled. There was honesty in their suffering. Ji-woon recorded each session, synthesizing and working them into his songs, hiding them behind layers of melodies. He was elated with his work. He left hints for police, arranging a mink bow from a recent photo shoot around a victim's slashed throat for his next killing. He removed the teeth from a man that a boxer in one of his music videos was without. During a particularly odious plea for attention, he killed a fan he had met during a VIP meetup, replacing her eyes with his diamond cut links and writing "I have seen God" in blood across her chest. Each scene was a dazzling spectacle. Between music and murder, Ji-woon's work was discussed globally. However, as violence became his preferred art style, his music career took a hit. Revenue was down, and Mike T won executives pointed their fingers at him. Young Jen was professional fairy, came to his defense, but she was outnumbered. It was decided that Ji-woon could no longer self-produce his songs. The decision was devastating. His tracks fused genuine humanity into music, yet executives rejected anything that wasn't generic and expected, and so be it. If they couldn't understand his art, he would incorporate them into it until they did. He had 3 months until he was to perform a private show for Mike T. One's broad members, 3 months to plan the magnum opus. He transferred obscene amounts of money to a veterinarian in exchange for canisters of nitrous oxide, then bribed the stage technician of Mike T1's private theater for access to the room. His celebrity granted him a benefit of doubt no regular person could conceive. When the show was ready, gas seeped into the room as executives and stagehands awaited Ji Woon's conventionality running behind schedule. Conveniently running behind schedule. When he arrived, half-conscious bodies were splayed in their seats and crawling across the floor. He worked quickly, binding everyone, pausing on only when he came to young Jin, the woman who had plucked him from a mud hole and set him on the path he deserved. She would be rewarded, granted a special access to the calming display of wonder. Even under seduction, she fought a raging storm within her, far stronger than the others. He propped her up as the lone audience member, prying her eyes open. The others, sniveling and sobbing, were brought on the stage to perform their final act. With a contemptible sneer, he slapped makeup onto their faces and shone stage lights upon them. They became his instruments. To the sound of self-produced melodies, he tortured them, gracefully dashing from one body to another, conducting an operatic crescendo from their wailings. They shouted, whimpered, screamed, cried for their loved ones, cried for their mothers. It was a magnificent outpouring of emotion, of what it meant to be human, and they did it with their eyes fixed on Ji Woon. Viscosity drained from the stage until, with their toss of his throwing knife, the final human instrument fell silent and the music stopped. Covered in sweat and blood and exhausted, Ji Woon looked to Jin and bowed. Curtain call, he had attained perfection. With blade in hand, he had made his way to Yoon Jin, prepared to tie up loose ends before the credits rolled. But as he reached her, the fog from where he didn't know, but it billowed around them, damp, cool, comfortable. He saw the grand stage, hospitals and temples, forests and slaughterhouses, an eternal plain adorned with rusted hooks sustained by the million eyes that would watch him, run from him, experience him. All he had to do was accept, becoming an implement of the fog, and most importantly, make them scream, encore. So that's the biography of the Trickster. And this is how I have the Trickster dressed right now, and his cosmetics. Now, let's look at the Trickster's perks. He's got Starstruck. It's very rare because it's in the purple. Your unmatched showmanship dazzled all. While carrying a survivor, any other survivors within your terrier radius suffer from the exposed status effect. The effect persists for 30 seconds on survivors who leave your terrier radius, as well as those within the radius when you hook or release their carried survivor. Starstruck has a cooldown of 60 seconds once a survivor is no longer carried. Exposed survivors will be downed by basic attacks even if uninjured. Enjoy this moment Few get so close. Ji-woon Hawk. His next perk is Hex Crowd Control. Very rare because it's in the purple. A hex that ensures those lesser than you are properly herded. When a survivor performs a rushed vault, the vault becomes blocked by the entity. This applies for up to 5 vaults. The hex effects persist as long as the related hex totem is standing. You have no control. People like you never did. Ji-woon Hawk. His last perk is No Way Out. It's in the purple, so it's very rare. You're not going to let just anyone into the VIP room. After hooking a survivor for the first time, No Way Out gains a token. Once the exit gates have been powered, No Way Out activates. When a survivor interacts with an exit gate switch, you received a loud noise notification. The entity then blocks both exit gate switches for 12 seconds, plus an additional 12 seconds for each token in your possession. That sound when you bleed, let me hear it again. Ji-woon Hawk. Alright, let's look at his customizations. He's got Dance Mascabee Star, and it looks like that. False Silver Lining Performance, and it looks like that. Fatal Free Fall Style, and it looks like that. Smash and Run Style, and that's the one he's wearing, and it looks like that. Then this is the original one. It's called the Trickster, and it looks like that. We're going to put this one on him, Fatal Free Fall Style. So that's what it looks like. We'll put that one on him. Now let's look at his loadout. I've only played the Trickster once. I think he's hard to play. He's fun to play though. And I like the way he looks, but I don't like playing against him. He's a hard killer, I think. And like I said, he is prestige to a level 4. Now here is his blood web. He's prestige to level 4. That's what he looks like on the killer chart. And that's what he looks like. So I appreciate those of you who have watched. Thanks for watching. And I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye-bye.